Jason Gilbo here with Matt Vaselli, taking a look at some stacking options for tonight's slate. 7 games. We definitely have some gas cans on the hill, a lot of high totals. You and I both looking at SunTrust for basically 2 stacks.
Yeah, definitely like it. Let's start here with Philly since we like picking on Cologne a lot.
Yeah, Clone's, been bad this year. 5 or more earned runs in 5 of 11 starts. 10 home runs already. You look at the Phillies offense, they exploded yesterday. Uduba Herrera finally coming back around. That's a big part of their offense.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and this might be his time to really go off. He had 3 extra base hits yesterday. He had 2 extra base hits the day before. So maybe he's finally starting to get out of it. And his price tag's pretty cheap. I think my favorite player on this slate for Philly is Michael Saunders.
Yeah, I like Saunders. SunTrust has been playing really well to lefties.
Have you seen that price?
Yeah, they're all super cheap.
Well, he's 27 on FanDuel, which I'd still pay there, but he's 29 on DraftKings. Like, talk about if he's on the teams that I'm not stacking, him being a one-off. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you look at what I think Herrera's 2.9, Saunders 2.9. That's a super cheap stack.
Yeah, easily. And if we'll talk about it later, but if you really want to go up to somebody like Carmart, Phillies is a good way to pair it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And on the other side, Atlanta, Nick Pavetta's a guy, decent stuff. It just hasn't figured it out at the major league level yet. Atlanta, 1 through 5, 1 through 6, I like them all. In this ballpark, they play really well too. And you just look at Pavetta, giving up a ton of hard contact, and this is still not an expensive stack outside of Kemp.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, they've been hitting the ball. Matt Adams on fire,
Yeah.
And it's, definitely a stack I'm looking toward. I think I definitely want the Philly side more. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with Atlanta there. The ballpark's great for lefties. Inciarte's on fire. Matt Adams is on fire. I'm sure Kemp won't go 0 for 6 again. So
yeah. I think, in terms of trend, I know you look at this too, and it's, teams that go off the day before and they put up 12 runs yesterday or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think 13 or something like that. It's hard to I really don't like it, like you said, that I do this. It's hard for me to stack a team when they go off the night before.
Yeah, and obviously heading back home and as good as the spot is, it's also a decent GPP fade too.
Yep, and I think people are definitely gonna be on him because of Pavetta. I feel like if I might not fade completely, but if I don't stack them, maybe I'll have an Atlanta one-off or something somewhere. So maybe they score 2 or 3 runs and my guy hits a bomb or something,
Yeah, I think exposure here is going to be the way to go. But it's stackable, but it's not a must stack,
Right.
As far as the third one, St. Louis, this is a team I just hate to stack because it rarely hits. But I think tonight, I don't hate it. You look at Asher Wojciechowski. This is a guy, high walk rate, league average strikeouts in the minors. Fowler, Carpenter, Biscotti, Jerko. That's not a bad 4 to stack, especially in this ballpark. And I think it's going to go fairly low owned.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about the Cardinals. They're like that team for me. Them and Kansas City.
Yeah,
it just seems like every time they're in a good spot, I should stack them, and it ends up not working out too well. But Asher is pretty bad. You said, who'd you say, Jerko?
Yeah, Jerko, Piscotty, Carpenter, Fowler. I don't hate these guys.
Yeah, I like them too. I always am interested in Pham if he bats in the 2-hole. Yep. He has a ton of power. But yeah, and I'm really upset with. I'm obviously not a Cardinal supporter whatsoever, but I'm pretty upset fantasy-wise that they just keep burying Diaz down there.
Yeah, he was a guy who was just kind of locked and loaded in the 2 spot last year, and this year, he goes through his stretches where he looks like he's back, and then he just kind of disappears for a while.
But I do feel like some of that's attributed to him batting in the 8-hole and not getting enough at bats too.
Yeah, and it's not like Piscotty's been any better.
No, that's what I'm saying. When they bat Pham up there, I love playing Pham DFS, but he's pretty boom or bust. I felt like Diaz is a lot more consistent for an actual, not a fantasy perspective and just a baseball lineup perspective. I'm surprised Diaz isn't up there because he's more consistent than those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, looking at the Cardinals, I think a lot of people feel the same way is, if you stacked them before, they obviously probably miss for you more often than not. And I think that might drop their ownership down. I mean, you might see Carpenter with some reasonable ownership just because he's a lefty in that ballpark.
Now, anybody else? I mean, it's hard to stack, but I'm going to talk about the team again because Kansas City, they're tough to stack. But Fiers has given up something like 20 home runs this year already or something like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I want to stack against Fiers. I always do. And I look and I think I might not be against like Perez, Bonifacio, Moustakas or Kane. I don't hate them.
Yeah, it's so hard. And I really want Hosmer to just have one of these big games. And I love playing him because nobody plays him. And when he has those good games, I'm so ahead of the field. But it's so hard to do it sometimes.
Yeah, I think the Royals, it's like if you're building multiple lineups, I wouldn't be against it. I think they might be just more of a one-off or two-off team for me.
Yep, I agree. It's just I like to somewhere attack Fiers.
Yeah. And Oakland coming off a big game, back-to-back big games, and you look at all these right-handed bats that hit lefties well. Chad Pinder, Chris Davis, Ryan Healy, Rajay Davis. I mean, you look at Happ. I mean, not as good as last year, obviously.
Yeah, another one of those stacks. If you want to really get Carmart or something in there, you definitely do it. But that's pretty much the only. I kind of wish we had another stud pitcher on the slate that I could, pair these guys with.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about fairly cheap stacks, and it's like you're still going to have money left over to pay up for like huge bats if you want.
Yeah.
So, anyone else?
No, I think that's about it.
So, Houston, you and I both ruled probably too expensive to stack fully.
Yes, and I think it's a good fade opportunity given what their ownership's going to be.
Yeah, Springer 5.7, Altuve 5.8 on DK.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's definitely fade for me.
Yeah. So let's wrap things up with us. You can head over to DaveHastigAfter.com, check out our great tools and content.